So today we're going to go ahead and start with 8-1, which is integers in the number line. So if you look at your key concepts in your notes, but before this what I want you to do is go read the launch on the page before, and I want you to think about what the temperature might be at 8 and what it might be at 10. When you're done with that, go ahead and follow along with me as we go through the key concepts. So positive numbers are going to be numbers to the right of 0. Numbers with the sign symbol are assumed to be positive. Sorry, numbers without a sign symbol are assumed to be positive.
Numbers to the left of 0 are negative numbers. Negative numbers are written with a negative sign before the number.
Okay, so any number with a negative sign before it or to the left of 0 are going to be negative. 0 is neither positive or negative. Opposites.
Two numbers that are the same distance from 0 on a number line but in opposite directions are called opposites. The opposite of 0 is 0. For example, -4 and 4 are opposites.
So what I always tell students to do is pretend like there's a mirror here at 0. So if I have a mirror, and if you're -3 and you're looking into the mirror, you're going to see the opposite, which is 3. So if I am -6, the opposite is 6, because -6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots away from 0. So if I'm at 0, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots away from 0. An integer. This is important. The integers are the set of positive whole numbers, their opposites, so those will include negatives, and 0. Let's go ahead and try part 1. Use an integer to name the location of each point. Find the opposite of the integer represented by each point. So if you go on the back, okay, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to have you follow along. So I know that this will be 2. This will be 0. So what's the opposite of 2? Well, the opposite of 2 is going to be -2. Opposite of 0, I can't do. Opposite of -6, well, I know that's going to be 6. What is the opposite of 9? Before I say the answer, go ahead and freeze, pause the screen, and write your answer on the got it in your notes. The opposite of 9. Well, I know the opposite of 9. 9 is 9 spots away on the number line. So if I'm starting at 0, 9 is 9 spots away, going to the right. So if I go 9 spots to the left, the opposite of 9 is -9. Go ahead and fill out this got it. So they want to know what is the opposite of 4 on your notes, and how do you know? So along with your answer, I need one sentence as to how you know your answer for this question. Go ahead and pause it, answer it on your notes, and then we're going to part 2. For part 2, they want to know which integer represents each situation. 5 degrees below 0. So if I'm here at 0, and it's 5 degrees below 0, I know it's going to be a -5. A loss of $6. Well, if I have 6, that's saying +6, but you lost $6. So it should be -6. A gain of 8 yards. So maybe you're talking football, okay? If the Bears gain 8 yards, that's +8, so you know it's a positive number. And if you take 3 steps backwards, that doesn't mean you're going forward. You're starting at 0 and you're going backwards. That means -3.
You'll need more than just positive integers to represent these situations. Words like backwards, lost, and under indicate situations you could represent with a negative integer.
Okay, the next question. They want to know, electrons and protons are particles in an atom with equal but opposite charges. Electrons have a negative charge. and protons have a positive charge. So I'm going to go ahead and underline that electrons have a negative charge and protons have a positive charge. What is the charge of an atom with 2 more electrons than protons? Well, I know that if they're equal, and I have my number line, okay, if electrons and neutrons equal each other out, balance each other out, my balance beam is now equal. But if I have 2 more electrons, that means electrons are negative, so I must move over 2 spots, which means my answer is going to be -2. And here's the reason why. They're saying that an atom with an equal number of electrons and protons has a charge of 0, but then each electron has a charge of -1. So if there are 2 more electrons than protons, we're moving over 2 to -2. What does it mean if an atom has a charge of 0? I want you to write in 1 to 2 sentences, does that mean that it has a charge at all? Or is it balanced? What does it mean? Are there protons, electrons? What are your thoughts? Go ahead and freeze, and then we're going to part 3.
Elevation is measured from a 0 point. Sea level is commonly used for a 0 point. That means a place with an elevation of 0 is located at sea level.
It says the highest point on land, on Earth, is at the peak of Mount Everest. Its elevation is 29,028 feet above sea level. The lowest point on land of Earth is the Dead Sea. Its elevation is 1,312 feet below sea level. Express each elevation as an integer. So what I like to think about is looking at this picture, okay? And if we're at sea level, that means we're at 0, okay? Here in Illinois, we really don't have that much elevation, meaning we don't have mountains. We're usually around sea level, pretty close to it, okay? So if a mountain, you're climbing, is going up towards the sky, that must mean that we're going positive. Okay, but as we go down towards sea level, it's going down, maybe 0 here. And then when you go down into the sea, it's getting deeper, so you're going into negatives. Okay, so when that's done, you know that this must be positive and going down to the sea is negative. So, that being said, Mount Everest is positive 29,028 feet. While the Dead Sea will be at negative 312 feet. Again, below sea level is using negative numbers, where above sea level represents positive numbers. So moving on from here, I want you to read this next got it. Try it by yourself. Okay, and when you're done, you're going to go ahead and go into digits, and you're going to do 8-1 on digits. I want you to get 70% today. So the lowest point, hint, hint, lowest point in the U.S. is Death Valley. Its elevation is 282 feet below sea level. So if 0 is sea level, okay, and we know lowest, and it's saying below sea level, well, below is my key word. It has to be below 0. So I know it's somewhere over here. Well, if I'm to the left of 0, is it positive or negative? Okay, and what number goes in front of it? So I'll show you some answers that it could be. Well, there's the correct answer, so I gave it to you. But make sure you agree with that. Figure out why. Okay, when you're done with all your notes, I'm going to have you go ahead and start 8-1 on digits, and your homework tonight is going to be to do 8-2 notes.